What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon and Elijah.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Let's just start off the week. I'm sure everybody's all very anxious to know what happened in our game last week. Jonathan, why don't you go into that a little bit?
It may not come as a shock, but we did lose. It wasn't too bad of a loss, but it should have been a win. So it's very discouraging, obviously. 0-6 on the season now. But this is going to be the week it turns around. What do you think? Do you think we're going to win this one?
Well, I hope so. I'm got to play my boy Josh, so we'll see what happens. But I was thinking, I was listening to Views the other day, and 9 came on, and I was like, are we really going to turn the 6 upside down to 9? So we'll see what happens.
I think we're going to have to do something here because 0-6, I just can't sleep anymore being a loser. But on that note, I did finally get a win in my intramural league at ISU. So
that's what my boy Hofer was saying. We were talking through this week, giving my boy that shout out he's been craving.
How do you play? I'm on a good streak. Yeah, he played pretty good. I think I carried. I did my part. So I was glad. I get subbed out like every 3 minutes on that team, though, because I don't know anybody besides Lucas and Josh. So they don't put the respect on my name. But hey,
you just gotta earn those minutes, dive for those loose balls, get it on defense. That's how you earn your minutes.
Man, that's your role. That's not mine. My role is give me the ball and let me shoot it. But I did get a new pair of basketball shoes, so I think it's gonna be like a like Mike situation, and I'm just gonna show out in these shoes, and it's gonna be start something new.
That's the plan. We'll have an update next week because if we don't win this game, we're probably not winning a game. So
I think we're gonna be a Cinderella story, though. We're gonna get to the playoffs. I think we're gonna win this week, and then as long as we have a competitive game the last week of the season, we're turning it around. Playoffs, we're gonna win it all.
I mean, I will say we have been pretty competitive in every game besides one. So
that's what I think. I think we play in spurts where we look like we're a good basketball team, and then we play in spurts where we look like we should not even step foot on a court.
We may have that Cinderella run. I may have to go cardiac Kemba.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a little UConn action. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous because it's getting late in the season. If we don't get a win now, it's not going to happen, like you said. So we got to get it this week.
All right. Enough basketball talk. Let's get into some music. So we had our first Instagram poll the other day. We had audience picks for the albums they're most excited for. Let's go through some of those.
All right. Yeah. So first off here, obviously, a lot of mentions of Kendrick. Trent and Anthony both said they're excited for Kendrick's album. And then Chris said he's excited for Kendrick and Kanye. And of course, it's not an Instagram poll without a troll comment. So Colby said he's excited for Morgan Wallen. I don't think he's necessarily trolling with his answer, but he's not. That's not the vibe I was expecting that poll to go.
I think he's trolling us. He's being real, but he is trolling us a little bit there. But, maybe he takes that step into rap. Who knows? He's got the little Dirk ties. So
what do you think about that song? Broadway Girls.
It's all right, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. So, that's that.
I agreed. The TikTok sound? It's like, at first I was like, feet as a joke, but bro, I don't think it's a joke anymore.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I was listening to that song. I used to listen to it ironically, and then I just kept listening to it, and I was like, I actually like this song. And I was kind of disappointed in myself, but hey.
That's the perfect song for Hoopston,
It really is. It's a perfect mix of the vibes in Hoopston. Makes everybody happy. I feel like Lil Durk's been kind of like relevant in Hoopston for a little bit. Like I feel like he's been popping. I remember my boy Trey Layden was playing Lil Durk in like 2015, and now I know. Now we look at him. He's collabing with Drake, and he's a star. He's on Donda.
Yeah, crazy. We do have those Chicago. Chicago's a couple hours away, so we get that exclusive access.
Facts.
Hoopston put everybody on to Kanye. I know what happened back in the day.
Definitely. I know you just said that we're gonna get away from basketball, but I don't think that's true because, guys, this episode, it's a big basketball episode. The All-Star game is gonna be the night before this episode comes out. So we wanted to get into some of the best NBA or basketball references in rap. You want to kick us off with the first one that you thought of?
Definitely. I'm gonna start this off. Did you watch last night with all those lamps and everything?
It was a bad showing. It was a bad showing. I saw MGK double sleeved up. He looked like a 2K my player.
Did you see Myles Garrett slamming it down?
Myles Garrett is bouncy for being a big boy. He is crazy.
Hey, Iodos putting on though in the Rising Stars game.
I didn't watch that one. How did he show out?
He did all right, for the limited amount of shots he had and everything. I really like the format they did this year. They did like a draft into 4 teams, so that was pretty cool. Did you see like all the layups they were missing and everything? Like they were doing all those iconic shots and they were doing layups and stuff. And it was like Scotty Barnes, I think, and he was just missing layups. And then they took like a picture and everything. They just all looked fried and everything. It's like Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, and they were all missing shots on that. It's pretty funny though. Anyways, let's get into these NBA bars. Got a little sidetrack there. So the first one I thought of, being a Miami Heat fan, I had a few that came to mind, but obviously you gotta show out with Jack Harlow here, my homeboy Tyler. He play in South Beach. He told me this summer he gonna fix my jumper. So what would you rate that 1 through 5?
1 through 5, I'm gonna give it a 3. It's all right. I think it's definitely a flex. I love a good NBA bar. It's a flex. How cool would it be just to call up Tyler Hero and he's gonna fix your jumper? I mean, that's definitely a flex to be boys with Tyler Hero at that level. So that alone gets it a 3, but it's nothing crazy. It's nothing too lyrical.
No, definitely not. And, it'd probably be a 3 for me as well. It's very sentimental to me, of course. That was kind of before he had the NBA Finals performance. I really, really like them showing him love and everything, but I think there's definitely better bars on this list.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into some of those better bars. So the next reference here I wanted to get into, Action Bronson. This man, Action Bronson, he is like the king of obscure references. He has a bar on a song called Set It Off. He says, aged cheese, 8 months, stinky aroma. Behind the back pass, Arvydas Sabonis. Whole smart crew kid. We smoking weed and diplomas. Rate that bar.
That's got to be a 5 for me, just because the fact, a lot of these guys are bringing up, the LeBrons, these big stars in the world, but he's bringing up Arvydas Sabonis. So, I mean, you got to show love for, these kind of not under the radar players. He's still a very good player and everything, but, the creativity with that one versus, just saying something with LeBron or KD,
Oh, yeah.
What would you rate that?
That's a 5 for me, too, of course. That is a bar. Arvydas Sabonis, obviously, he's one of the first European players to come over. Obviously, father to Domantas Sabonis, who's showing out now. But Arvydas was a legend in his time, short career, but he killed it. He came over a little late, if I remember right. But that's just such an obscure reference. Action Bronson, the king of this. He's got so many NBA bars, so many NFL, MLB bars, so many food bars, of course. Action Bronson, him. He's always in the kitchen, but this is one of the ones that stood out to me. I had to reference that. I actually was reading the Hip Hop and Other Things book by Shea Serrano. There's a whole chapter called Would Action Bronson Be a Good Travel Partner? And it's just going through different lyrics of his saying whether he would or would not be a good travel partner based on what he's saying about his travel habits. And I got to recommend that chapter. I don't want to spoil it, but you got to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. And, you to touch on the cooking a little bit, that's where my bar is going here. Drake on 0 to 100, the catch up. I've been Steph Curry with the shot, been cooking with the sauce, Chef Curry with the pot boy, 360 with the wrist boy. You didn't have that in the notes, but you got to keep it going. It just kind of flows. What would you rate that?
That bar it's a 4. It's really good. It's so iconic, but it's nothing like too crazy. So I'm gonna give it a 4. What do you think?
I don't see. It's got to be a 5 for me. Maybe just for personal. But I remember just being with my friends and playing 2K and, just trolling them with that and, doing the cooking while I'm playing 2K. So that was, at the time, that song was huge. It's kind of fallen off my rotation for sure, but still always going to be a classic to me at least.
No, that song is definitely a classic. Do you think you like 0 to 100 or the catch up better?
0 to 100, probably.
I think I'd agree, but the catch up is definitely slept on.
No, yeah, it's slept on. I will admit that it is slept on. So.
Everybody's always talking about that Chef Curry line, but the ketchup.
And I mean, even to touch on that a little bit more, Steph Curry wasn't this huge superstar that he is now, and what was that, 2014?
I think it was 2015.
2015. So, I mean, he was coming into his own.
I think he's got an MVP by then, but yeah, definitely still getting to that level. And now, I mean, obviously all-time 3-point scorer. So Shout out to Steph Curry.
I want to say, Hoopston puts everybody on, but I want to say I feel like I was pretty high on Steph Curry early in his career. So
That's funny because I am actually notoriously like not anti Steph Curry, but like he's not one of my favorite players.
because you're a Harden fan.
I know it's because I'm a Harden fan, and ever since Steph Curry threw that mouthpiece, I was like, boo this man. That was just one little thing. I'm sure like people think that about things James Harden's done or whoever, but hey, I'm biased. He's a lefty scorer, that's love right there. But the next bar I want to get into here, this is by Wale on the song Barry Sanders. He says, Interscope feeling like Charlotte when they traded Kobe, but I let it go. Rose finna re-up. He got himself a Kobe, and they stuck with Vlade Divac.
So that one's probably a 4 for me. I like the Vlade Divac, bringing him in a little bit, and that one actually, it has some significance behind it versus these other ones just kind of thrown out there. I feel like that one has a little bit more significance with that huge trade that went on draft night for Kobe. So, what would you say?
I think I'll go with the 4 as well. I think that's a great bar. Pretty obscure reference. I don't think anybody else has really talked about the Kobe trade in a bar. Obviously, many mentions of Kobe, but I haven't heard another one with the Kobe trade. And obviously, trading Kobe for Vlade Divac, it's a tough look, obviously, in hindsight. But I don't know. It's a pretty good bar.
Hindsight's always gonna be 2020 with stuff like that. But
yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next one. Said she needed a ring like Carmelo by Frank Ocean on Nikes. What would you give that?
I'm gonna go with 4. I feel like that might be a little bit high. I don't know. I'm between a 3 and a 4.
I'm personally going to give it a 3 because that there's not very much creativity.
That's all I'm saying.
And it's a bigger name,
I'll go 3.
It's not a bad bar by any means, but
no, it's definitely not bad, but it's nothing crazy. And I got on Drake for that. So if I gave Drake a 4, I have to go 3 here. So I'll go 3. But I do obviously love Frank, love that song, and I love Carmelo Anthony. So that was my bias making it a 4, but it's got to be a 3. Do you think Carmelo's gonna get that ring though?
Probably not this year. I mean, you can never say never with LeBron. Maybe once they're healthy, but I don't see it ever happening. Unfortunately for Carmelo, one of the legends in the game, but he's kind of like the Charles Barkley of our generation. That's perfect comparison for him.
Man, he's one of my favorites growing up. And I mean, I wore number 15 in high school, and I think all of middle school as well. And I mean, he's one of the greatest to wear number 15 in our generation. Him and Vince Carter are the 2 people that wore number 15 that I was looking at. So obviously I want the best for him. I hope he gets a ring, but I don't think it's gonna happen this year. And I don't know how many more years he has. And I think if he wins, he won't be like a big contributor. So it's like, I don't know, kind of ring chase move, but I want it for him though. I think he needs it, and I want him to have it.
I feel like I definitely associate 7 with Carmelo more. Do you do 15 more?
I don't know. I feel like when I got in the NBA, it was him on the Nuggets wearing 15. But yeah, I think he's solo on 7 because he's got Melo with the 7 as the L and some different things. So I would say 7, but 15 is just like that OG cornrows, Melo and Nuggets.
Definitely.
He was a demon.
Definitely. And, I thought maybe your inspiration was Cardiac Kimba there, actually, because I mean, that would have been the time you were going into high school. So,
yeah, I actually don't know why I got number 15. I think I just took number 15 because I like, Kevin Garnett was 5. And I like teens numbers, I think. So I went with 15. It was a random number at the time, but it's like grown to be one of my favorite numbers.
There you go. I'm more of a single digit number myself, or number guy myself, though. So
I respected it. But I think there's different sports have different good numbers. And I think basketball is a double digit number, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll leave that debate.
Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Moving on here, though, double digit number. We got to talk about this one. If I lose one, I bounce back like 2-3 did with 4-5. Big Sean on bounce back. What do you rate this bar?
That's a 5 for me. That is a bar with and I mean, it sounds very good as well and everything. So I mean, I don't know. That is a bar for sure. What would you say?
I'm gonna go 5 also. I mean, that's a good reference. I think I've heard another person make this reference. I can't think of who off the top of my head, but I mean, obviously, beyond just saying like 2, 3, and 4, 5, he even got the if I lose one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He got the counting. Obviously, the Jordan reference. That's a 5.
Definitely. Shout out Big Sean. All
Shout
right.
out.
We have Kanye on Can't Tell Me Nothing. And you could live through anything if magic made it.
Ooh, I think that's got to be a 4. What do you think?
For me, I mean that's not that creative. It's not that good of a bar. It's gonna be my first 2 of the day.
2.
I'm gonna give that a 2 because he does have a better. We have another Kanye versus Magic that was superior to that one. That one's not very creative for me.
It's not that creative, but it's such a good line. You can live through anything if magic made it. It's obviously magic went through a lot. I think that's a good reference.
I respect it. I respect your opinion,
I think
of course, but
that's people. If they're mentioning magic, they're mentioning like Showtime, passing, scoring. He's mentioned that real stuff, and that's why it's a 4.
I think he's got a better bar for Magic. So
I think he does too. And obviously, I didn't go a 5, so we'll get to the other one. The other one obviously is on Roses. He says, the best medicine go to people that's paid. If Magic Johnson got a cure for AIDS and all the broke motherfuckers passed away, you telling me if my grandma was in the NBA right now, she'd be okay? Ooh, that's a 5.
That's got to be a 5. I don't care who you are. That's got to be a 5. Speaking on real world stuff here, can the rich, buy cures to these diseases and everything? I mean, you could touch on a number of different points from there, and that's just Roses is a phenomenal track, and that sets the tone with that one.
Definitely, that's I think one of the most slept on Kanye songs. I don't hear too many people talking about that song, I feel like, but it's so good. I feel like somebody asked me like a top 5 favorite Kanye songs of mine, and I threw Roses in there one time, and then I was like, okay, probably not, but it is a fantastic song.
I definitely respect Roses being up there because, like you said, it's slept on. I feel like Late Registration as a whole, it doesn't get the love it deserves.
I would agree. I think Late Registration is probably a slept on Kanye project, but there's obviously better, but it is deserving of being towards the top. So obviously we're going to get to that Kanye ranking one day. Everybody, I know you want to see it. It's coming eventually, but we got to save it the right day because that's going to be a banger video. And we can only do it once. You can only do that Kanye ranking once, and we got to do it right. So maybe the 50th episode. That's a long time away. I was thinking about that recently. I was like, I said something about the 100th episode. I was like, oh, we did it for the 100th episode. I was like, that's like 2 years away. So maybe we'll do 50 for Kanye.
There we go. That wouldn't be a bad 50th episode. All right. For the next bar here, we have J. Cole and My Life. Knowing these songs, you can miss me. John Morant, I'm on the Grizzly.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give that line a 4. Obviously, it's nothing too crazy, but I love the reference to John Morant. Obviously, showing some love to that young rising talent. Gotta love that. What are you giving it?
I'd also be right on course with you there, with a 4. I think bringing in one of the younger guys, it's nice to see. You don't see that too much yet in songs, so we'll see what happens when if we get more references like that of these younger players that are up and coming. So
one thing I gotta say is I gotta see John Morant in a dunk contest.
Definitely. That would be, I mean, guys like Ja, Zion, even LeBron, those are guys that I'd be very interested in seeing in a dunk contest.
I know. Do you think LeBron? I think it's definitely too late for him.
Never. He will never do a dunk contest, but in his prime, just imagine the things he could have done.
He'd be crazy. I don't know. I kind of wish he would have, though, because if you look at some of the legends, some of the other GOATs, Kobe and MJ.
Yeah, Kobe, MJ. Yeah,
both did it. I think that would have been a good moment.
I think he would have killed it too. He's just super athletic. Which LeBron do you think would have been the best in the dunk contest?
Give me like 2009 LeBron.
That's what I was going to say. With his late into his first Cavs run, he probably would have been jumping out the gym. So
yeah, that's I want young, fresh LeBron. That's what I want. But moving on to another reference here. His sins feeling hard as Vince Carter's knee cartilage is by Earl Sweatshirt on Chum. What do you rate this bar?
I'm gonna give it a 3. You know, as much as I want to, as much as I want to give it a 2,
A 2.
it's a bar, but I just feel like you can't speak on injuries. You know, I definitely don't mess with people just on injuries. So I mean, that's my explanation there. But
That's not a diss.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a diss, but I mean,
It's a compliment.
how he's talking about his knees, talking about his bad knees. That's like him talking about Devin.
I thought he's feeling as hard as it is. I thought that was a good thing. I thought he was like, Vince Carter's like half man, half amazing. He's longevity. I think he's saying like his knee cartilage is good. Like I'm feeling as hard as that. I think that's a good thing.
All right, maybe I misinterpreted it there, but I don't know. It's
we got to go to Genius for this. I think it's a positive.
okay. All right, I can see where you're coming from here, but I mean, just I think of Vince being an old man with hardened up knee cartilage.
Okay, let's see. Genius says, "Oh, it's weak." Okay.
Yeah. See, I mean,
Vince Carter's knee cartilage is weak because it's gone through a lot of surgery and wear and tear throughout the course of Vince's long career due to numerous knee injuries. This mirrors how Earl felt weak starting out. All right, I take back what I said. I don't like the line at all now.
yeah. See, I mean, I felt like you want that soft, flexible knee cartilage. So I thought I was on the right track.
Okay.
There.
Okay, that's right. For some reason, I was thinking like tendons, which I guess you probably don't want strong either or hard. Okay, whatever. I was thinking it was a positive. I was like, oh my God, that's a beautiful reference. He's like congratulating Vince on his longevity.
No, yeah, I don't mess with the dishes. That's did him dirty.
You just dissed Devin low key. You said
I mean, that's making you feel it on a more personal level though. So, I was trying to give you that feeling. So maybe you could show some
sympathy.
Yeah, show some sympathy for Vince.
I'm definitely feeling that now. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna rate this. I'm gonna abstain from rating, even though I gave it a 4. I take my vote back. It's a negative thing.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, get out of here.
Back to Jack Harlow. Get bread nonstop. Know my name, ring a bell like Raja. From the city like Rondo Rajan. But I'm from the white side, Hassan.
That is a 5, no question. That's like one of the best bars I've heard about NBA players.
That's probably my second best we have on this list, right behind Kanye on Roses. But you're bringing in Raja Bell. That's an underrated, flying under the radar guy right there. Back on those AI 76ers days, and then you're bringing in Rondo, of course. Yeah, the GOAT. GOAT point guard.
He's my favorite growing up. I mean, I think of Raja Bell and those classic Suns teams with like him and Steve Nash and them. But oh man, that's an obscure reference. So that checks one box. He's shouting out a player from his hometown, Louisville, Rajon Rondo. Big shout out there. And then Whiteside Hassan. I mean,
that's what brought it all together for me.
That was crazy.
My guy back in the day. Once he came out of nowhere, that is a bar.
Man, that's a 5. The next one here to get into, being good is good. That'll get you Drew Gooden. But me, I want Jordan numbers, LeBron footing. That is J. Cole on Return of Simba. What do you rate that bar?
That's got to be a 4 at least for me. I like the Drew Gooden reference. Like I said, a lot of these are going to be influenced on who they can bring in. Anybody can bring in Jordan, LeBron, but who's bringing in Raja Bell, Drew Gooden,
Vita Sabonis,
guys like that? Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I'll give him a 4 for the creativity, and it's definitely a good line. What would you say?
I'm gonna go with a 4 as well. I feel like we got a lot of agreement here, besides the Earl sweatshirt one, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a 4. It's very good. The next NBA reference I want to get into here is Action Bronson on his song Traction. He says, "Pull it, leave his body where the Pistons play, rock a mask like Richard Hamilton, and hit the J." What's your rating for this bar?
That's a 5 for me. I mean, that's just so hard, showing Rip some love there, even bringing in his face mask, which he's so iconic for. What do you think about that one?
That's a 5 too. That I wanted to be kind of particular about who I gave a 5, but that obviously deserves a 5. Rip Hamilton is one of my all-time favorite players growing up, so I love the reference to him, and the mask is so iconic. I said this recently, and I think there's only a couple of things you could make arguments for, but I think the face mask is the best accessory in basketball. Obviously, it's not necessarily an accessory by like choice, but I think it is like the hardest thing. If somebody pulls up in the face mask, you know they're a problem.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if I'd agree with you on the best basketball accessory, but
What else? What are you picking?
I gotta go with like a nice leg sleeve or an arm sleeve, either one of
Oh,
those.
that's see. I said there's a couple of things you make arguments for.
Like you got short shorts and a leg sleeve on, you just look like a hooper.
You different. The one I've been hearing people talk about in like the recent NBA, the one leg sleeve. They said the one leg sleeve hoopers are elite. It's like Jason Tatum,
No,
Lonzo.
that's what I mean. Short
No,
shorts, you got a full leg sleeve, not the padded knee pad, the full leg sleeve.
oh, I know, but I'm talking about one single leg. They only have like the right leg, and then they just have the shorts on the
Yeah,
left.
no, that's
That's
what I
hard.
mean.
Well, some people wear like
Yeah,
leggings with like two, so yeah,
yeah, no,
goes hard.
even in high school, I cut off one of my leggings for football. So trying to be like Jason Tatum, of course. So.
Go crazy.
All right, our last one here went from most hated to the champion Godflow. I guess that's only a feeling me and LeBron know.
Ooh, 5.
That is a hard bar. That's got to be a 5 for me. That's the significance behind that, of course, is just that's tough.
Man. So earlier you talked about your Miami Heat fandom. Did you become a Heat fan when LeBron was there, right? Obviously.
Yeah, but so like my thing, I feel like it's very justified. Like I was 9 years old, just starting to watch basketball, so it's justified. I've stuck with them throughout it. So
No,
you know,
exactly. That's me too with the Celtics. I went there with Kevin Garnett and then I've stuck it out.
I've caught a little flack for maybe the timing didn't correctly add up, but I was also 9 years old. So
No, I feel like you cannot be mad at somebody, especially if they've stuck it out. It's one thing to like totally be a bandwagon fan, but to be a child and pick your team and stick with it, that's respectable. That's how everybody is. If you don't have like your dad being a huge fan to say, "Oh, we're Bulls fans," hey, it's on you to pick your team. You can do whatever you want.
yeah, I'm still a huge LeBron fan to this day, of course. And maybe I'm not a Heat fan. Maybe I'm a wherever he at fan.
Obviously, this has been a big basketball episode. We've been talking about our basketball and it's All-Star week. So I feel like we had to get into the rap references. I'm sure there's a lot that we missed here, but
Oh yeah, I mean you can't fit them all into one video. There's just way too many. NBA culture and rap culture, they're just so closely aligned together that you can't hit them all. But I like the ones we chose. We can't have all 5s either. So
no, I definitely agree. Moving on though to some rap news this week. We'll stick with the basketball theme here. Quavo and The Game got added to 2K as playable characters. Have you played with them yet?
I have not. I don't play my team very much. I play my park a lot, but it's really cool to see, especially since The Game. I don't know how good of a hooper he is. Obviously an icon, but Quavo's got a shot. He's got a sniper on him. That's probably one of the best basketball rappers I've seen. What are your thoughts on that?
Quavo definitely is, but The Game, you got to put some respect on The Game's name. He played in the Drew League. He's done his thing. The Game is very deserving of this. So cool to see those two get the first additions to 2K. But it makes me think, if they're getting added, I feel like it's just a sign of what's to come, and there's going to be more. Who would you want to see get added to 2K?
I mean, obviously Jermaine, J. Cole. Along with J. Cole, I got to see my boy Drizzy in there after his iconic, Kentucky shoot around. That'd be pretty funny to see as well. Who would be some of yours?
And I just saw a picture of Drake sitting in like the locker room with the Kentucky players, and I hadn't seen a picture of that in forever, and it was so funny. He's just sitting there like thinking, and
why?
Trey
Like,
Lyles
why did
and
that?
D-Book.
Why did that ever happen? He's actually like a part of the team with that. I get the close association there, but having him warm up and be in team meetings and everything, that's
It's
bizarre.
so random. It's not like it's J. Cole at St. John's or something where he actually went. Like, it's just Drake being a fan of Coach Cal and Kentucky, I guess. But and obviously he's probably got some boys. He's just doing Drake things. But other people I'd want to see, obviously J. Cole. He's got to be the next person to get added. That's the standout choice. But other than that, this is going to be a random one. I don't listen to his music too much, but I love his show and I do respect his basketball game. Lil Dicky.
Okay, that's a respectable pick for sure. You know, seeing as he's the fourth Ball brother, I really got to respect
The
that.
Dicky Ball, yeah. I got to get on my team with those four. They're
Well,
the Ball
LeVar's
brothers.
got to get all four of his kids in the league.
Oh, yeah. Have you watched Dave?
I've not. No.
Oh, you got to get on it. It's actually pretty good. This is my second TV show recommendation to you from the podcast. But Dave is pretty good. There's actually a scene where he's playing basketball, so show some respect.
All right, moving on here. So we gotta talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. What were your thoughts on the show?
I think it's got to be one of the best halftime shows of our lifetime. Obviously, I mean it's crazy. It's so cool to see that the NFL is kind of accepting that rap is the most popular genre in the world and showing some respect to the culture of LA. And it was just a great thing to see.
They all killed it for sure. You know, you had 50 coming in, hanging upside down like he was back in the day. Eminem killed it. K Dot killed it, of course. Dre and Snoop. You got Snoop up there doing the Crip walk.
Oh,
I mean, there was. I don't know. Did you see like the things where they told Snoop not to do anything, you know, gang related, or they told Eminem not to kneel? Did you see that they?
I did see that. I also saw something where they said that was not true and they knew Eminem was kneeling. So who knows what the truth is there. But I respect both of them for, doing what they think's right. So shout out to them.
I mean, definitely. And what was your favorite song from the show?
Ooh, I think I gotta go with still Dre. I mean, it was the one we were looking forward to the most. They didn't come out to like we thought, but they left to it, which was arguably just as good. So they did come out to the next episode, like my secondary prediction was. So I was pretty happy when that happened, but I still wish it had been still Dre. What was your favorite song they performed though?
I think Mad City for me, you know, it really hit. Of course, I liked all the Dr. Dre, but I didn't expect Mad City to hit as hard as it did. So I think it's definitely the direction these shows need to go in, because I mean they absolutely killed it. You know, a lot of people loved it, and I mean it's a very good show. It's probably my favorite one I've ever seen personally.
Yeah, I think The Weeknd and this are probably my two favorites. Obviously, very biased, huge Weeknd fan. So that's the reasoning for that. And I gotta agree though, Mad City was crazy. Kendrick definitely had my favorite part, but still Dre is my favorite song because that's just an iconic moment for Dr. Dre. I'm sure. Shout out. It was my birthday yesterday. Save the love, but it was also Dr. Dre's birthday. So hey, it was his birthday week and he's performing at the Super Bowl, showing he's still the legend. It was beautiful to see.
And then along with the Super Bowl, you know, all of them doing the Super Bowl show, we've seen some huge spikes in music. Mary J. Blige, 520% increase on No More Drama. Kendrick, 250% increase on All Right. Dr. Dre with 245% on Still Dre, 270% on the next episode, 185 on his music overall. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, it just shows how powerful the Super Bowl really is as a marketing tool. I mean, Pepsi's had their name attached to it for years. Obviously, just for the amount of impression they get is a great move they've been doing. One thing to go with this though, Mary J. Blige did not get paid to do the Super Bowl. What do you think about this? Do you think that those streaming numbers show?
I mean, she's still getting that
Hey,
bag,
wasn't it
obviously, you
necessary?
know. Maybe they didn't have the funds left to pay her, you know, maybe it was one of those things there where they couldn't pay her anymore. And I mean, it shows she's getting her money's worth for sure. The marketability from all that is just insane, because it's Super Bowls, you know, especially the halftime shows, the halftime show of all halftime shows, of course. So
Yeah, I mean, Mary J. Blige, I personally feel like her music is a little bit before my time. So I feel like this was such a good opportunity for her to show what she did in her career and still is doing in her career to an audience of so many people. So I thought that was really cool that people like our age are getting introduced to her music, because I feel like I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like we are obviously a little bit more introduced to the other people. So seeing Mary J go crazy was pretty cool.
definitely. And it just that spike is still just crazy to me, you know, just the huge increase in influx and everything. We'll get on to another influx of something here in a little bit. We'll talk about that here in a few. moving on to some other news this week, kind of speaking on the streaming numbers a little bit. Triple X has the most streamed hip hop album of all time with question mark. He passes Scorpion with 7.8 billion streams. What are your thoughts on that?
That's such a crazy number. 7.8 billion on one project is crazy numbers. That's only on Spotify. So I don't even want to know how many views it has if you total up YouTube, Tidal, Apple Music, and Spotify and everywhere else. I mean, that's crazy numbers. I was kind of shocked though that it's that high. It's so crazy that, he's been gone for so many years and this project is still just doing numbers. It's crazy to see.
I was just watching a video from NFR, another podcast we were watching. It was asking if old music is killing new music, like setting the bar so high with these older projects like that. And, it was a very interesting argument to watch and observe that at 7.8 billion people, that's like if everybody in the world, at least listened to it one time. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but still that's a huge number.
It's crazy though. Is there another album that you would have thought would be the top?
I feel like, I don't know if maybe this is just kind of like my age group or where I'm located, but I feel like Juice WRLD's bigger than X. So I would have said maybe Goodbye and Good Riddance or Death Race for Love would be right up there with those.
That's what I would actually have thought too. I was thinking Juice WRLD just because he was doing numbers. I mean, one of the biggest artists before his passing. But I mean, I'm honestly still kind of surprised that Scorpion is I was gonna make that point Drake as well.
Project. It was a very big project. It has a replay value with so many songs. There's got to be songs everybody likes with things to play. So I could see why, but it was surprising a little bit for me.
Yeah, I think it's strictly because of the number of songs in the project. Like, it's such a long project, and each of them obviously are doing numbers. Some way more than others, and it has God's Plan, which is like
huge
Drake's
song. Number one song.
Is it his biggest song? Yeah, that's what I think. So I mean, obviously that is helping it a lot, but I feel like it definitely has to have a lower average streams per song than some other Drake projects, but just the sheer number of songs puts it at the top spot.
What are your thoughts on like the side A, side B Drake kind of did with, side A being more rap focused and then side B being more of a pop focus part of him?
I think, that's kind of cool because it does show the two different sides that Drake is capable of doing. I think there's only a few artists that could successfully do a project like that because there are only a few artists that this is a buzzword that I was talking to somebody and I say that you throw this word out there once an episode, multifaceted. Drake is one of those artists that is multifaceted that can be in two different lanes at the same time. He is pop and he is rap. Obviously I prefer that rap Drizzy, 5 a.m. in Toronto Drizzy. That's what I want from Drake all the time. I'd love to get a project of 12 5 a.m. in Toronto style songs. Maybe we'll get that one day.
Maybe. I mean, he's accumulated so many over the years, but I kind of like Nice for What Drake. I can't sleep on it. I like both sides of Drake that we get.
Obviously, every week I feel like in rap there are so many quality releases coming out. This week, no exception. This week alone, we had drops from DC the Don with his project My Own Worst Enemy, Yeet with Two Alive, Currency and the Alchemist with Continuance, and then we got a couple of singles here from Jack Harlow, his song Nail Tech, as well as Vince Staples and Mustard with their collab Magic, Kid Cudi with Want It Bad on the new Nego project, as well as Tizo Touchdown with Handyman. Did you have a standout from this group?
I would say my favorite one of the week was Vince Staples with Magic, which he did with Mustard. What would yours be?
I think that's my favorite song. Obviously, though, that Yeet project, it's a little bit different. Yeet's going crazy.
That was a very good project. That he could blossom into a star. Maybe we include him in the video last week, but
he was in. I was thinking about him last week. I almost put him on there, but I feel like he's almost like too obvious. Like he's like, I've seen other people do their list of who they think is going to blow up this year, and Yeet's always on there. I mean, he's just running it right now. He's doing crazy numbers, going crazy on TikTok and all this. So I think this is the year of the Yeet.
Looking on all these releases, and like you said, every week you just see like all these, how much stuff comes out. It's like now that we're doing this, in this lane now, it's it just makes you realize how much stuff actually comes out week to week.
Yeah, and I mean, not beyond even what comes out, there's so much happening between rumors of things happening or different non-rap excursions by rappers like fashion and all this stuff. I mean, Kid Cudi has dropped a clothing line. Crazy stuff happening every week, so I love being able to talk about it.
I think the craziest thing out of all these releases though this week, Jack Harlow getting that Kanye West stamp. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, I thought that was crazy when I saw that. Obviously, Kanye just dropping the screenshots on Twitter. He's just posting everything. I love it. Or on Instagram, excuse me. He's just going crazy. He's posting about whatever. It's like a Finsta. It's like a burner at this point. I love it. But yeah, Jack Harlow top 5.
A little over exaggerated there, of course, but
I think so too.
That Kanye stamp is just huge.
And especially, I can't even imagine being like growing up a Kanye fan, and then if you got that shout out from Kanye, that would be like the ultimate like I've made it moment. I feel like
we got to get that Harlow feature on Donda 2.
I think it's all but a lock at this point. Jack Harlow will be on Donda 2. You heard it.
Jack's different. I love Jack. He's probably one of my favorite personalities in rap, honestly.
Oh, he definitely is. His Instagram stories are different. If you haven't seen those, look up Jack Harlow Instagram compilation on YouTube, and you're gonna be in for a treat.
He's got some game too. You saw what he did with the Saweetie on it was like a red carpet event, and he went up to her and
my man shot a shot.
Kicking it off with Kanye a little bit there. Let's move into a little bit of Donda 2 news here. Donda 2 will not be on streaming services. It's gonna be a Stem Player exclusive. What are your thoughts on that?
This is like the most brilliant marketing strategy I've ever seen. I love it, but I also hate it. That did crazy numbers for the Stem Player sales. Did you see the numbers?
Yeah, I saw the increase. It was triple digit increase. So
yeah, they made millions off the Stem Player in the day. I was like, oh my God, that's crazy. And then they showed how much they sold right when it dropped, and then right when it started shipping, and then up to date. I was like, oh my God, that is crazy.
I don't think there's any possible way that it sticks, but it is good marketing. Like you said, I think I'm on my way to copping a Stem Player.
I almost copped one like when they dropped, and I was like, oh my God, I don't need that. Like, I'm not actually going to use it. And now I kind of wish I would have, because I think it's so crazy that he announced it like a couple of days ago, and the album's supposed to come out on Tuesday.
Yeah,
like
what? Yeah,
people
that
aren't
is
going
crazy.
to be able to get their Stem Players. Like if they ordered it the day, like they probably wouldn't even have it on time.
Well, you can download the files and everything on the website as well. I saw. So I mean, it won't be too hard to listen to it. But I'm in the market for a Stem Player if anyone's got one for the low.
They're crazy. I actually tried to buy one, but my purchase got declined because like my debit card said it couldn't do an international purchase because they're shipping and distributed through some other company, and I think like the UK or China or something. And so my purchase got declined. This is like back in September, whenever they dropped, and so I should have had a Stem Player by now, but I don't. So I think maybe it's time I'll finally just get to do it. We'll see.
Maybe we got to pull the trigger together.
Maybe we get a Second Avenue Stem Player?
Definitely.
We could share it.
All right. This is the biggest news of the week here. Are you team Skeet? Or are you team Ye?
I appreciate that you said Skeet and not his real name. It's honestly hard for me to say Skeet because I do love Mr. Davidson. Outside of the past couple weeks with this, I guess he hasn't really done anything to like make me dislike him for the Kanye thing, but Kanye, he's just going crazy. His Instagram has been my favorite thing. Do you have notifications on for like different artists or anything?
I do not, but like you were talking about like how Hayden's always on his phone. That's me too. I've always got my phone in my hand. I'd hate to see my screen time. So, I try and keep up to date, of course.
I got notifications on for a couple because I know when they post something, I got to see it. Kanye, Kendrick, Donald Glover, like if those guys post, I need to know what they're posting because Donald and Kendrick don't really post, obviously. So if they post, it's
something big.
It's a moment. And then Kanye, he goes through phases. Like he was going through phases with Twitter where he was posting like a million tweets a day, and then he goes through tweets or points of time where he just does not tweet at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always had to stick up the notifications, even when it was blowing up my phone. And this Instagram stretch has been blowing up my phone, but I'm seeing those posts like a minute after they're posted. I'm like, okay, what's Kanye got for me now? He is going crazy, and it's
been something, you know. They've all been hilarious and everything. I love the memes. I love pretty much everything he's posting. He's definitely wilding on the gram.
It's crazy that him posting the conversations with Kim and saying, why wouldn't I post it? You're my favorite. I got a text from my favorite person. That was the most like hilarious thing he's posted so far, I think.
All right. Well, let me get a question for you then. What would be your favorite Kanye post of all time, and then your favorite Kanye post from this spurt that he's been on?
Okay, I think I have two that I'm gonna have to go with. The first one is I need a room full of mirrors so I can be surrounded by winners. I mean, that's the most Kanye tweet there can be. The other one is the one about the water bottle where he's like, I hate when I'm on a flight and I fall asleep and I wake up next to a water bottle, like, oh great, I gotta be responsible for this water bottle. That's just a funny one. But the other one is like the most like narcissistic Kanye tweet, and I love both of them for different reasons, but they're both great. What's yours?
That is a fire Kanye tweet. So mine would have to be, it's two tweets, but I mean they go together. This is back in 2018, you know, when he was going through his Wyoming stage there. Everybody knows the movie Get Out is about me. Kim was trying to fly to Wyoming with the doctor to lock me up, like on the movie Get Out, because I cried saving my daughter's life yesterday.
Okay, that's a really good choice. I respect that.
That is like my favorite thing, just to randomly send to my friends. You know, it's always be like, everybody knows the movie Get Out's about me.
Hey, it'd be like that. If you're a brown boy dating a white girl, that's that's you could throw that in whenever, I guess.
Perfect timing there and everything, you know, with the movie being fairly new. Very good movie, of course, but yeah, that's gotta be my favorite.
That's a great one.
So what would you say your favorite from, you know, this past little stretch of a Instagram post would be?
I mean, you know, I'm gonna go with a little bit of a different choice here. I thought it was hilarious when he was using all caps and then the little like heart emoji, like the little like cuddly heart emoji. Those two were really funny. But I'm gonna go with a little different approach here. I'm gonna go with the one where he went lowercase and was like, I've learned that using all caps makes people feel like I'm screaming at them. That was great. It's just good to see Kanye be like a little bit more self-aware and just.
But he followed it up like two posts later. He's like, actually, I don't care. Back to all caps now.
Yeah, that's classic Kanye. So that's my choice.
There's like two that come to mind. You know, I'm a big superhero fan, so I love the Civil War with like Julia Fox, Kid Cudi, Kim, Pete, Skeet. My fault.
Yep.
Kanye, Drake. Who else is in there? Trav, Billie Eilish. That one was pretty funny. And then the Kanye one with him and Skeet, whereas Venom versus Carnage was also a pretty funny one. They're just like so random, and it was just like took no skill. Like it looked like he cut the faces out on Snapchat. It was.
Oh no, those are definitely way funnier than what I chose. But it was just, I love that he was like going all caps and like he's like, I'm not gonna hurt Pete Davidson. Sorry, Skeet Davidson. And then he's like, I've learned that I've learned the all caps to make people think I'm yelling. And then he's back to all caps. So I love the switch up.
Like you said earlier, too, another hilarious one. The one that had me actually laughing was she's like, why do you have to post everything? He was like, you're my favorite person. Why would I not want to post you? All caps too, of course. So.
And then he threw exclamation points. That's the one that one hits a little bit different.
And then he just had a little heart with the caption. He didn't even go into the caption very much.
No, he doesn't need it. Those, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, and these Kanye posts have been worth 1,000 words, to say the least. I saw a tweet and it was like a picture of Voldemort and Harry Potter, and it was like, when is Kanye going to post this? But it was obviously Skeet and Kanye, and that I'm a Harry Potter boy, so that I would have loved to see that one.
All right, on a less funny note here, did you see the Watch the Throne podcast? Are you familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Kanye posted them, and they were looks like they're gonna get an interview with him. That is insane.
Yeah, I think that is a big move for them. Obviously, they've been making the podcast for a while. I haven't really listened to many of the podcasts, but they post some videos on YouTube, and I watch that and follow them on Twitter and stuff. So congrats to them. That's pretty dope. I do love their approach they went about it. They posted a screenshot of a unposted tweet on Instagram, and that's how Kanye got it, because Kanye follows them or whatever. Kanye, I looked at his Instagram, he follows like a lot of people now, which is kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
he does.
7,000, I think. So that was kind of crazy, but he saw that post, so they did the Kanye approach and they got recognized. So that was pretty cool to see. I do like that they also asked him to do a podcast about movies, because I was like, okay, that's something unique. Like, they're not asking him to talk about music. Everybody's asking him to do that. They're like, okay, let's talk about movies. Obviously, I think that'd be like an iconic moment if Kanye's like doing a commentary on a movie. That would be pretty funny to see. So
Definitely. Did you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast when he was on there?
I'm gonna be honest, it was super long. I think I made it through like a little bit, like an hour, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, it's cool to see him on there, for people to pick his mind and everything. It's always enjoyable, getting Kanye sitting down and talking.
And I mean, we obviously got one of the most iconic Kanye quotes there. I'm gonna buy the earth and be king of the earth, or whatever he said. That is,
what are you talking about, Kanye?
it's crazy. I was talking to somebody about this recently, though. I was like, how do people buy like stars and stuff? Like, people are like, oh, I own a star. Like, oh, you can buy a star on the internet. Like, who are you buying it from? Who owns the stars? So I guess if Kanye wanted to buy the earth,
who's stopping him?
Who's purchasing it? Yeah,
Jeff
who's
Bezos
selling it? I don't know. But the crazy thing, I was also in the same conversation about the buying the stars and all that. We were talking about all the Kanye stuff. I was saying the sick thing is, like, I don't want to sound like delusional here, but like everything Kanye says, I can like understand where he's coming from.
Yeah,
He just has like a
I'm
terrible
always gonna
approach
be team
sometimes.
Kanye. Kanye could OJ Simpson someone, and I'd still, I'd still ride for my boy.
That's crazy. That I'm not that delusional. That's like when Trump was running for president, and they were like, what would Donald Trump have to do for you to not vote for him? And they're like asking people at Trump rallies, like, if he killed somebody, would you vote for him? And they're like, yeah, probably. Oh, damn, all right.
Kanye's got my vote in 2024, locking it in.
Man, RIP 2020 vision. With all this going on in Kanye's life right now, maybe the biggest thing was the drop of Genius. What did you think about this documentary for the first week, at least?
It was so good. I love being behind the scenes, of course. It's like so crazy that the filmer, he quit his job to film Kanye. Like, that's 2020 vision for sure. That is different. Probably my favorite moment from the show was when he's performing All Falls Down, and they're just sitting there, not amused. And that went on to be one of his hits. That's just, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
so the thing I was wondering was, did they have to do that? Did they have to not react to be like, oh, we're not all in on Kanye? Like, from a business side, did they have to kind of reserve themselves a little bit so that they're not like, oh my God, Kanye, we love you. So they have a little bit of bargaining power in this negotiation of the contracts or whatever. That was my only thing. That's, I hope, what happened, because I saw the tweet that said this. These people heard she couldn't afford a car, so she named her daughter Alexis, and they did not bat an eye. If that is what happened and they didn't have to like reserve themselves, I am disgusted with them. But man, that documentary was crazy. Like you said, Cootie just dropping everything to do this documentary. That was so cool. I honestly did not know who he was before this. But I mean, it seems like he had a pretty successful career in Chicago before this, with his comedy and with his hosting and all that. So pretty cool to see.
Another thing I saw that was a very interesting point on it. It just kind of shows, and I feel like this is, maybe still how things are, maybe less on the music side, but it just shows how out of touch, these large employees are at these, large corporations and everything, how out of touch they actually are with, what the consumers want. So, I mean, that was also another interesting point I saw that, it's a valid point.
I mean, hey, that's what I'm trying to get the industry to change.
There we go.
But the one person I will say that was like on top of it was the A&R at Rawkus Records. He was like, oh, you're the perfect blend of hip hop and fashion and, all this. And I was like, okay, he kind of like called that before it happened. Like he saw that in Kanye. So that was pretty cool. That's what I picked up on. A lot of these people, they saw something in Kanye from such an early stage in his career. So it's really cool to see all these people saying these things and then seeing them actually come to fruition later.
Yeah, and it was just crazy, all these people missing out on, eventually Rockefeller did end up signing Kanye, of course, but another, thing that I feel like kind of shut down the narrative that Jay-Z made Kanye, because, I mean, we saw it firsthand. Jay-Z wasn't there too much. Pushing for Ye too much. What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely agree. I loved there was a scene where they were, I think, at a party or something, and Kanye like dapped up Jay-Z, but it was just like a acquaintance dap up. It wasn't like a we're brothers dap up. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's crazy to see how far they've come since then. Obviously he had produced for him and stuff. So it was almost like the relationship just wasn't where it's at today. So that was cool to see the uh, very beginning of all these relationships, as well as him meeting like Pharrell. And that was pretty cool. But the one of the things I loved about this documentary was in the Rockefeller office, the girl was talking on the phone. She's like, "Oh yeah, these people buying Blackberries." It's a thing about emails. I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy!" It does such a good job of like dating the documentary and showing where the world was at. I love looking at the cars too. Like there was a 2001 Honda Accord sitting there. I was like, "Oh, that's what my sister drives." So I was like, "That's hilarious to see." Like that was a new car then. And then there's Kanye. I think he had a Benz, yeah, and that was crazy to see because I was like, okay, that's like a nice car then, but it's an old car now. So obviously that's such an obvious thing, but it was just interesting to see because it was such a capturing that moment and what was going on then.
Another thing, like I kind of see where Kanye gets, his confidence from. His mother was just such a inspiration to him and everything. She knew she saw it. She foresaw what was to come with him, and was very supportive and everything.
I mean, yeah, that's obviously great to have a support system like that. And RIP Donda, of course, but man, she was the GOAT.
All right. So with all that Kanye news being said, where are you at? You think the album's coming out on Tuesday?
Man, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea. I think yes,
I wouldn't
but
be surprised either way, honestly, at this point.
I wouldn't either. But the whole stem player thing, that's such a new curveball. Like, if you would ask me this 6 days ago, I'd be like, oh, it's coming out 100%. Even when he did the announcement for the Miami listening party thing, I was like, oh, it's coming out. But now I'm like, okay, even if it comes out, like, I'm going to hear leaks, like, because I don't have a stem player. So I'm like, okay, we gotta get this thing figured out. I feel like there's different ways you could go about this to maintain that, control and not get taken advantage of by the different streaming services, and still get all that profit from the project rather than just releasing it on his stem player. I feel like that's such a it takes the audience that wants the album and like shrinks it so much. But I mean, obviously it's doing numbers for the stem player sales, so I don't know. He's
a
Kanye's got a
billionaire
plan.
he's a billionaire for a reason. We'll see what happens. I still don't think I think eventually we'll get the projects on Apple Music and Spotify. It's just a matter of when.
I hope so.
All right, moving on to some fan questions here to close it out, kind of. What artists could disappear like Kendrick or Frank Ocean and still maintain such a strong fan base?
I think this is a really interesting question, and my answer is Tyler the Creator. Tyler the Creator, he's so respected and has such a strong fan base that I think he could take however long he wants off and come back to that same fan base. And I also think he's such a creative guy that he would do something so legendary if he took so much time off and then came out with a big project. He'd come back in a crazy way, or the music would sound totally unique, I'm sure. So I think he'd be a really good choice. But I also think he's very different than these other two because he has so much going on with the fashion and all this stuff. Whereas Kendrick and Frank are like quiet, like they aren't in the media or anything. But I think if Tyler was going to take time off from music, he'd be doing other things. So I think it'd be a pretty different scenario, but I think Tyler would definitely be my choice. What about you?
I I'm leaning like between Kanye and Drake just because they both have such a following. Yeah, I feel like you have to have just a huge, massive amount of fans for this to work. But I feel like Kanye, everybody's gonna be saying, "Oh, what he's gonna put out is gonna be a masterpiece if he's taking this long on it." So, I mean, that's an interesting point to make with it. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think only an artist of a specific size can do this. And I think those are obviously two artists that could do it. So those are good choices. But I also think at that point, at what point are you like Oh, they're just retired. Like, if at what point are you like, is it 3 years with no Kanye project? Well, okay, he's retired. Like, you
it's
never know.
also, it's also one of those things where it's like kind of an age thing. If Kanye didn't release for 3 or 4 years, I probably would say he is retired. But a guy like Kendrick or Frank Ocean, where they're still at their peak, it's
Yeah, it's definitely a different situation than kind of an artist by artist basis. But I think there's only a specific few number of artists, and I think some of the ones we mentioned are possible.
Shout out Chris again for bringing that question in.
Great question. But we got to give a special shout out to Josh Davino with his next question. He says, what rapper could succeed in another genre, or what non-rapper could have a successful rap career?
This one took me a minute to think about, and I'm gonna go non-rapper. Get off rap a little bit, and so I think that Justin Bieber, man, he fits the lifestyle. I don't know like where the vocals line up, but I think he'd get it on par and everything. But I mean, he kind of already acts like a rapper and everything. So, what are your thoughts on that?
That's kind of a wild choice. I was definitely not expecting you to say Justin Bieber. I mean, he's got collabs with Travis and some of the rappers on Maria I'm Drunk and other songs. So I could see it, but I mean, he's not like rapping, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, he's not there to where you could say he's even a rapper at all, but I think he could make that transition.
I think it'd be crazy. Now I'm trying to picture what Justin Bieber on like a drill beat would sound like, and I can't picture it.
On it. Yeah, I don't know about a drill beat for him.
No, I'm just saying, like,
maybe something a little smoother than that, but yeah, I see where you're coming from.
It definitely would be, but I would love to see that one day. That would be pretty great. My choice, though, I want Frank Ocean.
Okay, yeah, that's expected.
I think it's almost cheating because he does have like a couple rap verses. If you want to say Raf or Oldie, I would consider those rap verses. So I think it's a little bit cheating, but imagine if Frank Ocean has dropped a rap album when he drops his next project.
I wouldn't be surprised because like both of those guys that we chose, they're so closely associated to rap, even being featured on songs with rappers and everything. So I could see it definitely.
It would break the internet if Frank Ocean dropped a rap album. Rap Twitter would be going crazy.
You're right different. On that. The more that I sit here and think about it, you're right.
It'd be crazy. But there was some big news for Second Avenue podcast this week. We had our first sponsor. Shout out to Dirty Mitch G, twitch.tv/Dirty Mitch G. This is our first sponsor. Me and him, we made a little negotiation here. Shout out to our other favorite streamer, though, Childish Davino. We just mentioned.
I was gonna give him that plug real quick. I play with my boy every night, so gotta show him love for sure. Twitch.tv/Childish Davino. Tune in
to both of the Twitch streamers that we love. But our first partnership with Dirty Mitch G, Second Avenue boys, we're gonna be playing some Fortnite live on Twitch with Mitchell. We're gonna be playing at 8 p.m. on Monday, the night this drops, Monday, February 21st. So if you want to, show some love to us, show some love to Mitchell, tune in. We're streaming for a couple hours, play some Fortnite, get some dubs.
Definitely. That's the plan, straight W's, so I don't rage and get off, 30 minutes in.
Yeah, we got to stand for a couple hours.
I got you. And then, just another plug on the giveaway that we got going on our Instagram. If you guys have time, go check out the Instagram, of course. Give us a follow, show some love. And you could also, get some vinyls off of that. So,
yep. Just a reminder, we are doing the giveaway. All you got to do is like, comment, and tag a friend, and share the post with the giveaway announcement. And you're going to be entered to win these vinyls, this Kids See Ghosts and Good Kid Mad City vinyls. 2 fantastic records. One of you is going to be lucky enough to get. So once we hit 200 followers, we do that giveaway. So it might be a little bit, but just keep telling your friends and keep entering, and it'll be soon enough.
I think that about wraps it up for the week.
I think it does. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you guys next week.